Well, there's a number of issues there, but let's bring in Jonathan Davis, who's an economist and a wealth manager. I want to pick up that business of that going into one account, and it makes it easier for men who are controlling. But let's just go back to what we were talking about on the initial question. Ed Balls, the Shadow Chancellor, said what George Osborne did by linking the two was nasty and divisive, but a number of our callers said that it had to be said.
Linking the two. Let's be specific about what you mean by that. Linking the two. Are you
linking
talking
the
about
linking the lifestyle that Mick Philpott engaged in with issues about the need for welfare reform? What he actually said was that we have to ask whether taxpayers and society should be funding a lifestyle like that of Mick Philpott. So that's the way he was linking the two. He did call it an absolutely horrendous crime. Let's be quite clear.
Yeah, exactly, Kirsty. Why is it appropriate, under any stretch of the imagination, why you and me and the listeners who are taxpayers, why should we be funding people who are getting £55,000 a year from us? Why? The answer is it shouldn't happen. It should never happen. And the lady there said it's only 190 families. Well, that 190 families shouldn't have been getting it.
We will come back to that in a moment. What about Lily Green from Women's Aid's point that under the new universal benefit system, it'll be easier for controlling men to take that money and put it in a single account because often child benefit was paid to the woman?
Well, undoubtedly, with any reform, with any changes to anything, there are always complexities, there are always difficulties, there are always problems. If this is a problem, and it probably is, then someone needs to look at it and take appropriate action. But to suggest that because reform creates a problem, therefore you should not reform, well, that's just nonsense. The logical conclusion to that is we should never change anything. In fact, let's all just tax everyone 100% and give it to everyone else. Well, come on. That is illogical. It is insincere. It is disingenuous. We need reform. You know the reason why we need the reform? And this is the issue that the media doesn't pick up on. Out of £720 billion of government spending, £51 billion a year goes on interest on the accumulated debt. And because Osborne and Alexander are now borrowing £100 billion a year, austerity, you've got to be kidding. They're borrowing £100 billion a year. The interest bill alone is rising £3 billion a year.
Jonathan,
that's the reason why we have any form of austerity, and people need to realise that 10, 20 years from now, there won't even be a welfare state because we'll be spending so much on interest.
Jonathan,
we need reform now.
I think you just better have a sit down for a minute. Thank you very much for that.